Hello, Rocketeers! I am Case.
And I am Odyssey. Welcome to the PitStop, keeping you up to date with the Premier League. At the end of Week 3, Double Tap had maintained their position at the top of the table, but with a close-knit group just behind them. Apollo 11 and Ascension were still struggling at the bottom of the table, but they'll be hoping to make a difference in these final 2 weeks. And sadly, Turbulence had to drop out, but hopefully they'll be returning for the next season.
With the departure of Turbulence come forfeits, which will benefit some of the other teams. So let's take a look at the table after these forfeits and the buys are taken into account. Foremost take the top spot for now, however they have had to forfeit their last game against Apollo 11, so they'll be ending the season with 72 points. Double Tap, now in joint third place, still have 3 games to play. Weebs on Wheels, Iversatile, Boots and Cats and Ascension have 2 games left and Apollo 11 just have 1.
So let's jump right into the first match of Week 4, Espeon, Digital and Jamesbot of Double Tap versus Stony, Conundrum and Homebad of Weebs on Wheels. The Weebs get things off to a good start in the first match, Conundrum bouncing the ball off the backboard for the waiting Stony. But the 1-goal deficit springs Double Tap into life, dangerously knocking the ball around in short taps. They keep possession into the orange half. As Homebad launches it into the air, Jamesbot sees his chance. Espeon perfectly redirects Jamesbot's aerial past the incoming Conundrum to level the score. It almost seems like this is a move they've practiced because 20 seconds later Jamesbot and Digital pull off an almost identical shot. Weebs on Wheels press the attack trying to break the blue momentum, but Double Tap are very fast on the counter. Digital gets a clean wall hit past Conundrum, allowing Espeon to follow it in. In the closing few seconds, the Weebs manage to get a consolation goal, showing they'll be ready to fight in the next match. Both teams come out swinging in Game 2, getting a couple of early goals. Double Tap put together a skillful little maneuver for their second goal, Espeon springing the ball into Jamesbot's path, who gets a deft touch onto the bar, setting up Espeon for the shot. But only a moment later, Weebs on Wheels improvise a beautiful move of their own. The double pass back from Conundrum and Homebad allows Stony to pop the ball high. Conundrum jumps into position to get a stunning flick. Despite this impressive display from the Oranges, Double Tap do not falter. Jamesbot powers the ball into the corner to give his team the lead once more. The Blues remain on the attack for the rest of the game, often with all 3 players in the orange half. But in the end, the match finishes at 3-2, and the Weebs are left with some work to do. But Double Tap now have a firm hold of the series, and after this powerful angled down aerial from Espeon, Weebs on Wheels lose their grip entirely and concede some unfortunate goals. Whether it's from a surprising pinch, an unlikely lob, or getting caught in goal without any boost, the end result is the same. Double Tap take 9 points, Weebs on Wheels leave with nothing.
Double Tap overtake Weebs on Wheels to reclaim the top spot alongside Foremost, but with 2 games left to play. However, the Weebs went on to play Apollo 11 in the next match, the series ending 3-2 to Apollo 11. This means that Weebs on Wheels are ending the season with 75 points, and Apollo 11 are finishing on 72. Moving on with Week 4, Good Call Drew, Darkfire and Corelli of Ascension take on Snappy, Subban and Staced God of Iversatile. Ascension begin the assault on the orange goal, hitting both posts within the first 15 seconds. However, their aggression is punished by Staced God when Ascension's back line pushes up too far. Corelli responds soon after, slotting it between Snappy and Subban, who are only inches away from making the save. Iversatile keep pressuring the blue defense halfway through the match, Staced God striking the angle, which Drew just manages to clear, but Subban was waiting for the follow-up. The momentum switches again in this fast-paced match, Ascension taking the opportunity to fight back. Subban and Snappy both go for the defensive aerial, which leaves the goal open for Drew to equalise. 30 seconds later, and things still haven't settled down, Iversatile go on the break and Darkfire doesn't connect with the aerial clearance, allowing Staced God to chase down the free shot. The Blues work hard to level the score, forcing Snappy to make this hero save. As the timer ticks down, it looks as if it's all over, but Ascension have other ideas. Darkfire races across the wall to centre for Drew, leaving all three oranges stranded in goal. It goes to overtime, and with the confidence now on the blue side, Corelli delivers a bit of magic. It was a wild, back-and-forth game, but Ascension take the lead after the first match. Moving on to the second, the teams switch colours, Ascension now in orange, Iversatile in blue. In the first minute, Subban lofts the ball down the pitch for Snappy. Corelli, who has just managed to get into position, finds himself static and unable to deal with the threat. However, being a goal down seems to ignite Darkfire, who proceeds to hit shot after shot past Iversatile. Though, perhaps Drew deserved this one. On to match 3, and Iversatile are now 2 games down in the series. However, Ascension are about to have the wind knocked out of them. The ball is crossed along the wall and Darkfire knocks it into his own net. Looking again, even though the ball wasn't heading in, Darkfire had no choice but to go for this ball, otherwise Subban would have had the tap in. Even so, an own goal can be very demoralising for a team, as we're about to see. Iversatile take control of the game, hitting home all the shots and punishing Ascension for any of their attacks. The match finally comes to an end, finishing at 8-2. Ascension are still leading in the series, but a loss like this can have a long-lasting effect. At the beginning of match 4, Darkfire, back in blue colours again, tries to rally his team's spirit with this fantastically controlled aerial. Waiting far behind the opposing backline, he hovers in the air to receive the pass and put his team into the lead. Despite this, Iversatile are still riding the high of the previous match. Snappy thumps an aerial from the other side of the pitch for the equaliser, before setting Subban up a minute later. Although, Snappy was clearly going for the goal himself here. You can tell from Subban's perspective that he didn't know Snappy was coming in. Even so, that would have been in my top shots montage had Snappy got there first. Iversatile run away with it, winning 4-1 and halting any attempts at a comeback. The 5th match goes much the same way, Staced God getting a hat-trick and Snappy getting the 4th. Ascension get a last-minute goal to end the match at 4-1. This series shows how important a team's morale can be, and how one incident can tip the balance and change everything. Still, Ascension take away a respectable 6 points, and Iversatile leave with the full 9.
After that last game, there are now 4 teams tied for second place with 72 points each. However, Double Tap, Boots and Cats and Iversatile still have games to play, so let's see how things change with the next match. Espion, Digital and Jamesbot of Double Tap against Frag, the Year of the Mount and Lani Akea of Boots and Cats. In the first game, it's Double Tap who start on top, disarming an opposing attack and turning it into one of their own. Digital speeds down the wing to centre for Espion. Boots and Cats show that they're not afraid to use their claws, smashing Digital out of the way and taking the goal. Jamesbot will likely be annoyed about this one. Frag hits a powerful shot along the ground, which Jamesbot just reaches. However, although the ball shifts slightly, it somehow doesn't change trajectory and continues on its path into the goal. In the last few seconds, Mount shows his rough side, disrupting the 2 blue defenders and allowing Frag a shot on an open goal. Double Tap get off to a much better start in the second game, Digital scoring a kickoff goal and then taking the second after a dribbled pass from Espion. The rest of the match displays an even fight for possession, but neither team managed to score, although Frag comes very close in the last few seconds. Having levelled the series, Double Tap seemed to come into Game 3 in a very good frame of mind and dominate the first half of the match. A couple of close-range aerials put the Blues 2 goals ahead, before Espion coolly takes this shot on the bounce for the 3rd. Boots and Cats begin to mount a counter-offensive, keeping the ball in the blue half and taking shots when they can. Eventually, Mout finds an angle and manages to slip one in ahead of Digital. Unfortunately for the Cats, Espeon strikes back straight from the kickoff, scoring a fast aerial past Laniakea. And when the Oranges manage to pull another goal back, Espeon does almost exactly the same thing again. Denied of their comeback, the third game ends 5-2 to Double Tap. Boots and Cats pile on the pressure in Game 4, giving it all they've got to try to take control. The shots come in thick and fast, rebounding off the back wall and posts again and again. After weathering 2 minutes of this, Jamesbot rides the wall and turns defense into attack. Despite conceding the first goal, the Cats continue their assault. Laniakea and Frag work together to centre for Mout, who flicks the ball into the far side of the net. Immediately afterwards, Laniakea hammers an unstoppable shot into the top corner, putting his team into the lead for the first time since Game 1. However, Double Tap aren't ones to give up when they're behind, and they're about to make their presence known. Jamesbot acts first, hitting a forceful aerial from above the ball. Digital is next, launching a rocket into the top corner. And Jamesbot is back again, setting himself up with a well-placed aerial lob. And then Digital wraps things up, exploiting the Cats' aggressive kickoff and putting the ball past them with one touch. With that win, Double Tap take home another 9 points. Boots and Cats leave with 3.
The Cats were set to play Ascension in Week 5, but Ascension had to forfeit, which means Boots and Cats get 9 points. This leaves them on 72 points at the end of the season. Double Tap, now top with 81 points, still have 1 game left to play and the possibility of ending the season with the full 90 points. So let's jump into the final match of the season. Digital, Espeon, and Jamesbot make up Double Tap versus Subban, Snappy, and Staced God of Iversatile. Double Tap get off to a flying start once again, Digital scoring from the kickoff. He then goes on to beautifully set up Espeon with this little somersault. Espeon finds himself in the right position for this, having just been demolished a moment earlier. Digital is certainly looking on form today and somehow manages to find this angle for the hat-trick. Pushing their advantage, Double Tap look to extend their lead, but their boldness leaves them open in defense, allowing Subban to pull one back in the closing minute of play. This isn't enough to make a difference to the match, but might spur Iversatile on for the next one. Subban and Snappy start off the attack in Game 2, managing to both force the ball past Jamesbot for the first goal. Looking closely, the shot ricochets between the two players several times, but ends up coming off Snappy. Straight from the kickoff, Subban is searching for the next goal, smashing Jamesbot out of goal as the ball is coming in. But Double Tap managed to see off the attack, and Digital is quick on the break. Subban is doing anything he can to win this game, setting up Snappy with this wonderful aerial flick-on which Snappy reaches in a flash. He also aims for the back line when possible and puts in the shots whenever he can. But soon they're back on the defense again, Snappy having to make this save on the goal line before Espeon and Jamesbot put this lovely move together. With the score levelled once again, Iversatile give it all they've got to retake the lead. In the final minute, Snappy gets the opportunity they've been looking for and manages to centre it for Staced God to get the tap in just ahead of Jamesbot. The match ends at 3-2, the series evened out at 1-1. Double Tap seem absolutely determined not to fall behind in Game 3, Jamesbot and Espeon both having to make saves on the line before going on the attack. Double Tap are front runners. When they take the lead, they become inspired and confident, and they will carry on knocking on the door until it opens for them. This is a quality that allows them to run away with this match, which ends at 6-0. They are now only 1 win away from ending the season with the full 90 points. Match 4, and Iversatile need to strike fast to change the momentum, but Double Tap already have a chokehold on this series, and they use it to full effect. Scoring goal after goal, even when the Oranges make the save, somehow it still ends up in their net. It's a slightly ignominious end for Iversatile, who have performed amazingly well through the season and finish in second place with 75 points. Double Tap are seemingly unstoppable though, achieving the full 90 points and leading the table.
So here are things at the end of the season. The playoffs are still to come though, so let's take a look at the bracket. The top 2 teams are automatically put through the first round, so have an easier run to the final. Double Tap, Weebs on Wheels, Iversatile, Foremost, Apollo 11 and Boots and Cats all have a chance to be crowned the Pulsar Premier League champions. So if you have any words of support or hopes for your favourite teams, leave us a comment because we'd love to hear it.
We hope you've enjoyed the pit stop. We'll be back soon to cover the playoffs and then on to Season 2. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Ed Case.
And I've been Odyssey, and we'll see you next week.